recording this, and so you can send, oh, yep, here's the recording. So yes, you can send it out. Hey, Catherine. Just saw someone named Catherine. And
yep, Catherine just showed up. Yay.
Hi.
Hi. So, we got Renee. Okay, see, so now people are coming. So just to introduce Ashleigh. Ashleigh's a client. She's also another rock star agent in Alabama, and invest properties. And so I asked her to do this webinar on how she got started, what she does, and she didn't go to school for it. She didn't, she just kind of just jumped right in and did it herself. So I just thought, who better to give you guys a little mentorship about how to invest than Miss Ashleigh.
Well, that's really sweet. Thanks. Yes, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. So I know kind of everybody, I'm not one to like listen to myself talk a ton. So everybody tell me where you're from so I can kind of understand the markets everyone's in. I know Tiara's in Raleigh. How about everybody else?
I'm Columbus, Ohio.
All right. That's a pretty good market for Airbnbs and things like that. You're unfortunately Ohio State territory, and so I'm a big Alabama football fan, so I'm not going to say too much about that.
Don't hold it against me.
I'm not.
I'm from the New York tri-state area. I live in New Jersey, northern Jersey. So yeah, New Jersey is a very tenant-friendly state. So we have to be very careful about our tenants that we choose, because it's impossible to get them out if they are not doing what they should.
Yeah, that's a fun portion of investing. So you definitely have those irritations and people being people-y. It's not always fun to be a landlord, and I will just go ahead and tell everybody I do not do property management, but I have a property manager for all of my properties, simply because I don't want to have to manage it, and it's worth the 10% for me to not have to manage it.
Next.
So,
I'm Renee, and I'm from California, Northern California.
So wine country?
Not quite. We're just outside. We're more in the valley.
Okay.
Yeah, a little ways from I'm really right in between two wine countries. So
Fun.
I started talking before everyone was on here, but I'm Tiara. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm originally from Oregon, so Renee, kind of closer to you, but yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham area and surrounding.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Lori. I'm from, I live right outside New York City in Westchester County. I have one rental property. I had two with a partner and we split, so I only have one now. I do rent to students and I do all the property management myself, which I'm a little tired this year. But I've owned them for 15 years. We just sold that other one and I just split. So I still have in my head that I have the two properties. But it's been a good run. It's been a good run. I would like to have more.
Yeah, and I'll say congratulations on your split, and I'm sorry. I went through that in January, and a partner split is a partner split.
For me, it was a really good deal, to be honest with you, because well, one, I'm thankful for her because I would never have purchased the properties if she hadn't said, let's do it. I always wanted to do it, but if she didn't say, hey, you want to do this with me? I would never have taken the plunge. Reduce the risk to have a partner, right?
Yeah.
But over the years, I did 99% of the management of the properties, and it's more in my skill set. But a few years back, I had her sign a management agreement where I was getting paid 10% to do the managing.
Good.
And So anyways, and the split was good. Like she wanted out and I'm happy to have one less thing on my plate and to be on my own. And it was very meaningful. We did it was done very nice, well.
Good, good. All right, I think we've had a couple more people come in.
Yeah.
Well,
We got
okay.
Anne, Adam, and Amy. And I don't know whose iPhone that is. 740. Oh.
It's
Okay.
me.
That's Vicky. Vicky, I think introduced herself, right, Vicky?
I did.
So, Anne,
I'll go next. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Zopowitz. I live in Durango, Colorado, and I've been living here for 23 years. My husband and I own 4 rental units. We have 2 townhomes, and the first one we acquired when we got married. And we tried to sell it during the housing crisis and realized we could rent it for a lot more income than we could sell it. But we tried to sell it. And by default, we had to rent it. And then that got us into the rental business. And since then, our next home that we moved into, we turned that into a rental. So we had our initial mortgages on these were primaries. And then that home we turned into a duplex. So we've got 2 rental units there. And then we acquired a 3rd rental, which is a townhome. And so I manage them. And we get about $7,000 in income a month on those. And we use that to pay off the 2 mortgages that we still have.
That's really great. Good for you. And that is a conversation that I think that some of us will definitely start having more and more with our clients. I don't know about you all, but I've had a ton of fear with clients this year around what's the market going to do? Am I buying the top of top of top? And then we'll have that conversation about creating more of a net worth and keeping the properties long term and having a rental. So I'm always going to say it's a good time to buy real estate. And I know everyone's little interest rates are high. I hate that I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. Those agents who tell you how long they've been in the business. I got my license in 2007. So I've been doing it for a minute. And when I started, we had a crash. And so I think that that's just part of the conversation that we can be having with our clients is if you keep this can be a huge part of your long-term net worth growth and will be beneficial to your families. And that can be your exit strategy. If you're not looking to be in a property for 10, 15 years, they're worried about that. Okay. Sorry, that's my little plug on that. So anyone else I'm missing that we've not introduced?
Adam and Amy, if you guys want to take a minute to just introduce yourself and if you guys have any, well, I know Adam, you've got rental properties and stuff. So yeah, just your interest.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. My name's Adam Reed. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. So I heard somebody that's there in Raleigh. Yep. Send me a message. We'd love to connect with you. Yeah, so Asheville is special. We're the last last location to kind of be affected by a recession, and we're the first ones out. I purchased a duplex that I live in one half of about 2 years ago and have experienced a very large appreciation. My goal for next year, once I can adjust my debt to income, is to take out a home equity line of credit to use to purchase some land or owner finance land to buy another duplex, a new build, modular, get some long-term tenant stability on one half, and either consider a midterm rental with travel nursing with using furnished finder or Airbnb. I purchased about a year ago, a little year and a half ago, a river house on the Nantahala River in Bryson City, and do that solely as a short-term rental. And I haven't looked at the numbers, but we made about 60 grand, I guess, just on that. That was rental income on the incoming side, not the outgoing expenses. So I'm not quite sure how we cash flowed, but it was well above the mortgage amount. Yeah, looking to buy some more, and certainly would prefer to do the real estate and investing side over the real estate business side, because I like it better. I like being my own client, but at the same time, I like helping my clients invest in real estate and build their net worth.
Oh,
And
Adam,
he's a new dad too, a new father. It's got a.
Wait, what's that?
I said, and you're a new father too.
Oh yeah,
Just a
yeah,
girl.
yeah. Just a baby girl. Her name's Scarlett Ada. She's my big why now. I have a little bit more of a focus where everyone struggles to find that why. I feel I make up, but it's a little easier this year for 2023. Once I have a sit down with Teresa, it's been a little bit of kind of, yeah, lot of new stuff on my plate, but looking forward to resetting for 2023 and incorporating real estate investing into my small business.
Oh, Adam, you and I have a lot to talk about. Yeah, I would love to connect with you after the fact. Yeah, you and I are very similar in all of those things. Yeah.
And Miss Amy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Solera from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm very new to the real estate investing. My husband and I moved to a house a few months ago, so we're getting ready to rent out a condo that is where we had been living. So I've spent the past few months just making a few updates for it and getting through some of like the occupancy inspections and permits. So I'm getting ready to list that for rent at the end of the week, and this will be like my launch into investing. We'll see how this goes, hopefully well, and would like to maybe buy more in the future.
That's amazing. Okay, Teresa, am I missing anybody?
Nope, you got it. If you want to start, and the floor is yours. You should have sharing.
Okay, let's see. We all know that Eden always does this for me. So forgive me for that real quick.
And if you just want to you're going to talk about who you are and everything. So cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Ashleigh Timmerman. Is everybody seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I am here in Birmingham, Alabama. I do several different types of investments, and you kind of see a little bit about all of my investments. So before I got married in March, I was flipping my primary houses every 2 years and moving into them and then selling them. And then that 2-year beautiful mark means I didn't have to pay capital gains. I have done this 4 times, and the least amount of money I made off of that was $75,000. The most that I made was about 120. So extremely lucrative way to invest. So I really enjoyed doing that. And then I married someone who wanted a move-in ready property. Tried real hard not to have that, and that's okay. You compromise a marriage, right? So I own 11 rental doors. I have acquired them all by the BRRRR method. So anyone who does not know what that means, you buy a property cash, or I'm going to say the word hard money lender, which makes my shoulders raise, because that's definitely a little bit harder of approach, and your numbers have to be much tighter using hard money. There's some that's great and easy, and then there's some that is definitely way more expensive with their interest rates, all of their point fees, and all of the things. So that's my little asterisks around hard money lending. I had $40,000 saved and used that 40 for my first door, and then refinanced it. And I know that whenever I save $40,000 in New Jersey, in California, in so many of your markets, you're probably looking at me like I have three heads. Those deals aren't in Birmingham as much right now, but 5 years ago when I started this process, they were. I do have one Airbnb. Both my Airbnb and my rental doors all have property management because I can't personally do all of that. I do flips, so I will do about 6 of those a year. Service that I offer to clients as well, which has been great because I do have a heavy community of investor clients. So if it's the BRRRR method that they use, or if they're doing a fix and flip, our construction company can help them with that. Annually, I max out my self-directed IRA. Self-directed is really important to me because I gave you my hard money lender speech, and you can do hard money lending loans to other people. Get with your financial planner and have those conversations with them around that. But that is an opportunity that you can be the bank and make those numbers. It's just, again, hard money lending on the buy side is significantly harder. I do have a money market account. I like that specifically for having some fluid if I want to go out and purchase a BRRRR, or if I want to go get a flip. I've got those funds readily available. With my financial planner, I have college funds for my needs. So we do not, well, my husband has a 19-year-old who's in college, but we do not have our own children. We've got dogs and I have nieces. So one of the things for them that's important to me is that if they choose to go to college, or if they choose to launch a business, that they don't have to hit that level of debt. One of them is 10, one of them is 6, and we have no idea what college will look like then. I just don't want to burden them with that. I set up a retirement fund for them a couple of years ago. And does everybody know when I say the rule of 7, what I'm talking about?
Why don't you go ahead and just tell everybody, Ashleigh?
Okay. So the rule of 7 is based off the S&P 500. Your funds will double every 7 years. That's just based off history. And so I had a great uncle that we were extremely close, and he passed away 5 years ago. Prior to him passing, he had to file bankruptcy twice. I don't want that to be part of anything that they have to worry. My great uncle did all of the right things, was an amazing man. He adopted 3 special needs children, and his bankruptcies were caused to medical debt is why he had to end up filing bankruptcy twice. And the sad part of all of that is he was a higher up executive at GM. And you would think the person who got to live that amazing retirement life would have been him based off where he was. But unfortunately, that was a huge part of his story. And then I can't say enough about, in real estate specifically, with your businesses need to have tax savings accounts. And you really need to make sure each transaction that you have, you are taking care of that. So that's a little bit about me on the investment side. And I'm going to do a real quick 2022 overview. And by the time I finish, some of you are going to be like, yep, 2022. This sounds like a normal story of it. So January, I went through a business partner split, got engaged, had to put my dog down. February was, I don't know, wedding planning and looking for a house. March, we got married. April, the day that we came back home from our honeymoon, my husband's father fell. 6 weeks later, we buried him the following week. my husband had shoulder surgery and had some complications from that. Luckily, it was a quick complication, but in the event anybody has a shoulder surgery and does a neck block, just like to educate everyone and say 10% of those cases will have a portion of your lung collapse, and it presents itself as a blood clot, and you're going to potentially have to get to the ER as quickly as possible. Then he got healed. We both got COVID. I had a terrible bout of COVID. Got it twice. Took Paxlovid, so ended up in the ER because I was so bad. Luckily, did not have to stay in the hospital. My sister got divorced from a very abusive situation in July. I was able to pay probably about half of her attorney fees. Once they moved in with me overnight, I sold my house. I had lived in her basement for 10 months before I got married. Then in August, my husband's not mom, but like mom, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. September, my grandmother, who is one of my 5 people that I want to be when I grow up, I like to say it that way, she passed away. That was something that she'd been in the hospice for 2 years, so it was not unexpected. And then October, I got COVID again, which was great. My dad had surgery, which was an experimental surgery. He was the 27th person who had it. He has now had 4 surgeries from that one, and several complications, 2 week stays in the hospital. Then my husband's not mom, but mom / best friend figure. She's been in the hospital twice. I've been a huge part of her caregiving team. And it gets discharged from the hospital any minute now to go there. So when I tell you all of that, that is my 2022. Business has been different to do with all of those things, which I think a lot of us can relate to. And rental property and investing has taken off the financial worry when I've literally had to drop my business in my admin's lap. Luckily, we've got a lot of great systems, and I'm very transparent with my clients and let them know what's going on. And I'm big on scheduling calls with them, and everyone's been extremely understanding. So I know all of us, 2022, if that's not your story and it's been a great year, I'm so happy for you. And none of us escape the hard years altogether. So investing has helped me have a much easier year than I could have if I wouldn't have had these things lined up in my life. I bring in on these properties after everything about $6,000 a month in profit. And my goal for next year, that almost covers my shoestring budget. My goal for 2023 is to have my entire budget covered. Because when life happens, I'm an Enneagram type 2. I want to be there. I am a helper. I am the person my family, every member of my family calls in case of emergency, and now Stanley's family. So I say all of that to say, it's a lot, and investing has made my life a lot easier. A lot of people from the days of where they have, the people who will tell you, I was a real estate investor, it was terrible, don't do it. Chances are, when I've asked them this question, I always like to say, interesting. Tell me what your strategy was. Because so many people in the investment side are told, get in there and just do something. Something's going to be great. And if you don't have a strategy behind it, 1, you don't know what you're looking for with any of the rentals. And 2, when we don't plan and we end up somewhere great, we can't really track our success record on it. And two, when we fail, it's hard to go back and see what steps we missed. Do I have failure in my life? Yes. I told you I went through a business breakup this past year. That's been a fun thing. But I will say, whenever I say, okay, here's my strategy, this is what I'm looking for, I can pull the trigger very quickly on what I'm looking for. So with rentals, you can do, and sorry, with this slide, I should have had rentals and Airbnbs together, but you can do the long-term year-by-year lease, 2-year leases, 3-year leases. With Airbnb or vacation rentals, you can do short-term leases. The medium that Adam was talking about that he is getting into, those are great for anyone in those areas. I mean, Jersey, you definitely have healthcare providers still coming there who need to have some 30, 60, 90-day stays and could potentially house them in that. I told you I do flips. A lot of people, I've got one client specifically through the years that they will do rehabs on properties, and then they'll do lease purchase sales. They work closely with a lender to get people approved, ready to buy, and that's been extremely rewarding for them. I told you about doing my primary home, flip and hold for 2 years and then sell off so that you don't have the capital gains on it. And then Asheville vacation rentals, that's a huge market to tap into. So like whenever I talk strategy, is there anyone that's like, I need you to dive in further on what that looks like? Or does everyone kind of know? Because I know we're in different spaces with investing. So everyone kind of tell me where you're at with that specifically. And I'll take it.
Okay, I'll ask questions. I'm interested in doing all of these, but it's more of an issue of where to start. And unfortunately, I can't really do the primary, which is like buy and flip. You know, that's basically what I did with my other rental. Is I bought it as a primary in 2007. But you know, it was different back then. We could work the mortgage system a little differently. I'm not sure. I'm on the deed of my, so I'm on 2 deeds, right? I'm on the deed of my primary, I'm on the deed of the rental. And so how do I buy a new primary is challenging. I've talked to my kids, they're adults, about doing it, buying things in their name and using that system as basically what you're talking about. But again, prices are so high here. I think I'm gonna have to start in the condo market, which is, you know, lower, and do rentals. The flipping, I think our prices are still kind of high here. And the vacation rentals, I would love to do something like that in like the Carolinas. Just don't really know how to get started down there either. So, I mean, I guess it's like, just how do you get started? How do you?
So I think you have several key people that you need to have on your team that need to have an in-depth understanding of investing. Thank you, Adrian. You probably, Arian, I'm sorry, I had an Adrian. So I think you need a good CPA who can tell you how exactly to formulate everything. You need to have a local lender. So I have a local lender. I pay 1 point over prime for all of my investment properties. And you need to have an attorney who understands how your formation looks for the properties. I'm big on very little is in my personal name. Like Ashleigh Timmerman does not own much, but my businesses do. So anything that you can do an LLC on With the Burr method, when I use it, I get 100% of the funds back to me. So when I break that down, and I know a lot of these numbers, all of you are like, that's very unrealistic, but scale it however you need to. So whenever I buy a Burr, I say a property after it's rehabbed is worth $100,000. Then I immediately go back to 75 because I want to make sure that all of my funds are protected in it. Then I subtract from the 75 anything that it's going to cost me to. I'm not going to invest more than 55 on a pickup price. No, yeah, 55 on a pickup price. So then that 75,000 I can finance. I've got 25,000 of appreciation, but I also don't have to have a down payment. So anybody else?
Well, were you saying that you would finance the whole 75,000? You wouldn't put up your own cash?
I do in the beginning, but whenever I finance it out, I get 100% of my
When you
cash.
refinance it, you pull everything out.
Yep. Oh, and there's a couple things. Yep. Thanks, Adam, for paying attention to the chat. So let's go back to share, and I'll go to the next slide. And that's actually perfect timing for everything that I just said. So where's the button? Sorry. Okay. So meeting with your accountant and attorney for formation, like, again, I'm real big on asset protection. My attorney and my accountant both specialize in real estate investments. You'll see a lot of schools of thought on property purchases. Some schools of thought that you have an LLC per property, some after you have a specific amount of properties. That's what I personally do in my strategy, and then an LLC for a specific amount invested. So if you wanted to have, say you had 10 million in properties and you wanted to have an LLC per million in assets, like that's a school of thought too. So really getting tight with those people. Your accountants right now will love to see you. They don't want to see you in, April, September, October. But right now is a good time for beginning of the year to set up some appointments with them and talk to them about this and have them be a huge part of the process. So you're defining your strategy, and part of that is making sure that your assets are protected in the best way to serve you, your family, and your properties. I told you all my husband's in construction. Oh, this is a fun thing that I left out. He was walking a property last week and he is okay. He fell through the bathroom floor and hit his rib. So now he is telling me constantly how his ribs hurt. Luckily, he is going to be fine. That's not something that's going to be a lawsuit. And that is something on one of your properties that could happen and become a lawsuit. So just making sure that you're protected and won't have to have those types of worries. I'm also very big on this. You're going to tell some people that this is something you're wanting to do, and I am mindful. I've got a client right now who's an investor, and her husband is not, and he is not into this. And her listening to anything that he says is extremely hard, and they live under the same roof. So you're going to have a lot of people have opinions on how, one, you're investing your money, two, what you should be doing, what's best for you. You have to be the one that defines that. I love Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets has been a huge resource for me and expanded my thought process on different types of investments. One of the things that I want to own is a trailer park, and I don't want to own the trailer specifically. I want it to be land leases that I can do with people, because those are extremely lucrative. If you own the land versus not owning the trailer, from everything that I've been listening to taught, but that's not an investment strategy that I've went into and started the process on right now. So I can't really have a huge opinion on any of that. I just know several people who've trailers specifically, but have owned just the land rights, have really enjoyed what that's done for their families. So kind of everybody tell me, where do you invest?
I can go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of Bigger Pockets too, and really love David Green. I think he's also a Keller Williams mega agent in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Keller. Yeah. So like 5 years ago, I was broke. I had $30,000 of credit card debt, and then I just wrecked my car. So, and then now I own, a duplex and a rental property. So it really takes time to, I guess, focus on my real estate business first.
Mm-hmm.
So investing in myself through education, investing in my business to make money sets me up for opportunities to buy primary residences. And in Bigger Pockets, they talk a lot about doing a house hack.
Mm-hmm.
And house hacking is creating that rental income while you're living in the house. But also, I think for Miriam, Lori, maybe I can't. Yeah, what she was asking was, how do you do under a primary? Is I think that you need to, like, or people, I do this, is to get the house rented out, show that rental agreement to a mortgage lender, and then have that rental agreement effective on the date in which you close on your new primary, which is what I'm trying to do. Because I'm a veteran as well, I've got the benefit of a 0% down and can leverage that. So I've got a lot of things moving in my head. So there's, like, I think someone else had mentioned that they wanted to do all of it. Me too. And it's so distracting. And now I realize that I have less time than I really had with a newborn that was awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning and didn't get to bed until late. So yeah, that's a lot of me rambling, but
I
investing.
love a house hack on a VA loan. I love it. And kudos to you and thank you for your service, because that is a benefit. I think it's a small thing that we do for our veterans that can be an immense wealth building opportunity for them. But unfortunately, that story is not told enough. And my VA clients, we have that conversation all the time. And my VA network and your VA network is completely different. So I will say, shout that to the rooftops to all of the people that you've got around you that have been veterans. And I think a lot in 5 years can happen for all of us. Like, I just kind of gave you guys a real quick overview of the fun of 2022. Multiply that by 5. And don't look at the bad things, look at the things that you can learn and be doing. I think that you're doing great, and give yourself a huge high five. And babies are very tiring, and I am like a very super hands-on aunt. The nicest thing that I could do for my sister was wash all the bottles. So I try to give that advice to every man whose life and I'm just had a baby. So congratulations.
Ashleigh, I really appreciate your portfolio. It excites me because I've had all those things on my mind as far as, you know, multiple rentals and owning a construction company, I think is wonderful. I currently just have an Airbnb that does very well. And it's on my owner occupied property. And listening to, so one of my thoughts is that, you know, I definitely want to add to my portfolio and have additional investments. And I guess I've approached it, you know, different thoughts. I mean, one, I really like the home that I'm in, and that's also where the Airbnb is. And at the same time, it would be great leverage to rent both out and buy my next owner occupied property. So thank you for that, that thought.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really thinking that way, because I'm like, I really like my home that I live in, but do I like it enough to hold me back from my next step?
With that, I'm just gonna say, why do you think it is that you love your house so much? Is it the actual house, or is it the things that you've done to make it a home?
It's the actual house. I mean, I definitely, you know, the combination, but it's so cute. It's a cute little 1940s house. And I don't want to see anybody come in here and mess it up. I cherish it. I really do. Yeah, it's super cute. So it's to my personal dream home, honestly. It's in a wonderful neighborhood. It fits I could see myself here the rest of my days.
Well, it's hard for me to tell you to sell
so that is a challenge.
Yeah, it's real hard.
I know. Yeah, or not, you know, let somebody rent it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the lender that I work with really closely, and when I purchased my other properties, what they said is you really only have to have the intent to move there. And so if you change your mind the day after you buy, no one's coming to check up on you. So you do have to have a lease that says you're going to rent what you live in, and you do have to write a letter saying that you have the intent to move. But I think the challenge is a little bit that you have to be buying something better than what you live in. You couldn't really, like, if you're living in a $500,000 home and you go buy a $250,000 condo and say that you're going to move to that 3 miles away, that's going to be a little hard to explain. But if you have the intent to move and you write that in a letter, the bank accepts it, you can still get the loan that the next place is going to be your primary.
And I'm going to asterisk this for my go-to lender. They don't want to know anything about that at all with a paper trail. It can be a conversation probably, and they'll tell you like all of the pros and cons of that, but they do not want a paper trail that remotely links them to that knowledge.
And that would have to be a broker and not a banker, because the banker would be the fiduciary for the bank, right? The loan officer would be the fiduciary for the bank. But if you're working with a broker and they can help you strategically, then they're the fiduciary for you.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that Ashleigh was sharing was when you sell it, though, is you're wanting to sell as owner occupied, because that's really where your tax break is.
Yeah. Well,
right.
There the past.
That was what you had shared, Ashleigh.
Yeah. If you've lived there, you have a box at closings that is always, well, here we do. I'm not going to say in every state because I know we're all different, but my understanding is every state at every closing, there's all of these fun little boxes that you check whenever you are a seller. And one of them is you live in there to the past 5 years. And so that's the big question there. You have to say yes.
Right. Right, because that's federal. Yeah, that's across the country. And one other question I had, you said you refinance. So typically you cannot refinance until you've owned it 6 months. Is that correct? I mean, that's my understanding. You had to have the loan 6 months, or is that different financing because you're doing hard money?
I'm not doing hard money. So I have a local lender who, if I do hard money, I want to be the one lending out the hard money. I don't want to go for hard money.
Smart.
So I have a local lender who they are under the threshold of having to meet all of the requirements with that. So I can refinance
Oh,
less than 6 months.
oh, okay. Good to know. So look for that kind of lender.
Yeah.
Guys,
All
we've
right,
got
thank you.
about 5 more minutes with Ashleigh. So, and Ashleigh, if you could just put your like information in the chat window so that it's available for those who would like to talk about this in further depth with you.
Absolutely.
Hold on, wait, you're directing.
Sorry. I thought that I'd be able to like, me and technology. I'm great.
Because you did it in the just to
Oh, the direct message. Yep. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've got here we go. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, just about 5 more minutes of questions before we got to wrap up. So, and we have Ashleigh's information here. So for those of you who want to, continue, and also y'all exchange. I mean, we're always doing referrals. So be sure that you guys, refer business to one another. Okay, I'm muted.
Okay. So actually, I know that I didn't get to everything that I wanted to, but what I would love to do to make Teresa's life a little easier is this. I think everyone on here has an investment goal. So make it a SMART goal. One that is there, and being in a hospital is like not a big deal to me. My husband has white coat syndrome, so I can be at the hospital, be there for my people. I want all of you to be able to have that same level of a story. And luckily in real estate, we have buying opportunities in front of us all the time. You just have to have your strategy mapped out to know what that is. So with all of that said, does anybody have any specific questions for me or anything that you want to chat about after the fact? Just send my way. Like if it's one of those scenarios of where in a lot of these situations, and we do have some people on here who've got a lot of great things in their portfolios. Like if it's something that you're like, I don't want to ask a stupid question, call me, text me, email me, ask me the question. I'm here. I love this. I love what it does for me. And I'm super passionate about real estate investing. So did I just give everybody permission to not have questions?
I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to present what you have. I'm sure there's lots of follow-up questions and would love to do this again. When you have time. I know it was very surface level, which is great. It's a great way to get started. There's so many questions. I rely on my local RIA for a lot of stuff, but it's always great to have an outside perspective. Yeah, so would love to talk some more. And I think I shared my information with everybody. So would love to connect with each person in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I'm just going to say, since Adam talked about it, like you all will have local chapters of real estate investing groups. We have a couple in town that I love and they're great. And we have a couple in town that are extremely like that self-serving, like, beware. So again, who you're getting your information from, pay very close attention to it and see how, I don't know, it's hard to say, find a litmus test for real estate investing advice, but find your own personal litmus test. We had an agent in our office that this blew my mind. Every one of her clients, she went by the Grant Cardone philosophy, and she was like, you should never own a primary house. That's an awful way to invest your money. And I just sat back and was like, no, it's not. I'm happy with how I've done with owning properties that I live in, and they've been very good to me. So just be mindful. That's one of my things with litmus test. Anyone that basically says, just get in there and start buying properties, because I love math, and real estate investing is math. You don't have emotion to it.
So Ashleigh, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so do you guys find that, did you find this webinar helpful, and did you guys get some great ahas, some takeaways?
Yes.
Thumbs up. Awesome.
I would say yes, definitely. And thank you, Teresa and Ashleigh, so much.
Yeah,
and everybody
thank
for
you,
sharing.
Ashleigh. And so you got her information, reach out, ask some questions. I definitely in the new year would love to feature each of you guys that you are something you're passionate about. So just share with me something you're passionate about, and we will do a webinar. In fact, Ashleigh, if you're cool to do another webinar in the new year, we can do like a stage 2 to get a little more in depth. And by then, those who are interested and who have been investing, they can share what they've taken from what you've shared to start investing.
Absolutely.
So with that, love you all, wishing you all a blessed Christmas and holiday and New Year. And I'll see y'all soon.
Bye.